Yeah.
to sync it up.
All right, so we're going to be talking about your meat prep, right?
My meat prep.
Correct?
Um,
Prep.
My meat prep.
Meat. Show prep.
Yeah, my show prep. We're going to be talking about my show prep. I'm currently a week out from the Heart of Texas bodybuilding show. I keep calling it Heart of Champions, but it's Heart of Texas.
Mm-hmm.
It's over at the Irving Convention Center, so I'm looking forward to it.
Well, you're going to be there, so you might as well be Heart of Champions.
I am the Heart of Texas. I'm the Heart of the Champion.
Yeah, man.
No, but it's at the Irving Convention Center, which funny is where I did my first show, which did not go so well.
Wait, really?
But yeah, it's at the same venue.
So this is is this going to be like some kind of redemption thing for you?
Yeah, like a Rocky.
Dude, that's actually really cool. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think it's cool. I mean, I'm excited about it, but yeah, no, it's at the Irving Convention Center, and then last one I did was at like a Marriott hotel in Plano. But
Got you.
It's at the Irving Convention Center. So I'm looking forward to it. Should be good. Been dieting and training for like 13 weeks, dedicated to it. I picked this show because it gave me enough time to get lean, but I also didn't want to be dieting on my birthday or in the winter.
Bad friend. I know you told me this. When's your birthday?
September 27th.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
But no, I just didn't want to be dieting on my birthday.
I've already told you happy birthday. Wait, have I told you happy birthday? No,
I mean,
it's only September 11th.
I was going to say, so. I think it's like the 10th today or something like that, or the 11th. Yeah 11th because it's 7 days today. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, man. I mean, that's what we're doing. We're talking about the show prep today.
Yeah, man. So you said that this has been a 13-week prep?
Yeah, so far, which has been my shortest prep.
That's what I was about to say. When it comes to bodybuilding, usually y'all are doing like 30-week preps, right? Or maybe even more?
I would say like 16 to 20 is probably like pretty standard for most guys. But my first show, I took 7 months to prep. And when I use the word prep, I more so just mean like spend time dedicated to losing fat for a bodybuilding show. Mm-hmm. But no, and then the last one in 2018, I prepped for... I think 5 months. Got you. So, but no, this one's been just it'll be like 13 or 14 weeks total. Okay. So,
and I don't remember if you've told me this before, but was this just a on the fly decision? Because you got 9 months and then you got 5 months and then now you're only doing 13 weeks.
Yeah. So you're right. Yeah. I was listening to a podcast and the guys were talking about competing and I was eating lunch. I was eating a burrito and I had some chips and I had some salsa and just maybe a pretty heavy meal. And I was feeling a little bloated and I was like, man, I need a challenge. I need something to kind of rile me up and get me dialed in a little bit more, you know? And so I decided to sign up for a show. And that's what I did the last 2 times I felt that feeling. Like it's really just, for me, it's something to like almost ground myself on my discipline practice and like what I need to do to like accomplish the things at hand. And so sometimes
it's like putting a fire under your ass.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Yeah. It gives me a reason to stop being lazy and to know that like, hey, on this date, like you're going to be in less than your underwear in front of, several hundred people. So
so you better do what you got to do.
Together. Yeah, exactly. And so sometimes it just takes a bit of that like external motivation to get there. Cause I do love bodybuilding, but it's just like, it's a draining process, man, as far as how much, effort and dedication it takes, especially if you're, trying to do it right. Yeah.
So is this like, I don't know if this is going to sound goofy, but do you think that this is not only, for bodybuilding, but some kind of, spiritual journey? Because I do remember, it was probably 13 weeks back, you were telling me like you felt like you needed something, like you needed to do something, and that's why you signed up for this show.
Well, it's funny you say that because I think everyone's like health and wellness and fitness journey is somewhat spiritual. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, it's definitely I think it has to be, because it's something that you have to live to do properly, right?
Yeah.
And that's everywhere from getting the right amount of sunshine so your body functions optimally, like going to bed on time, like only eating the right things.
Yeah, so it's not just in cardio, the gym.
Like, yeah, man. I mean, it's everywhere. Like you got to keep your stress low. Like there's so many different facets of it that your only option is to live it. And so it's something that like you can, I don't know, maybe a good phrase or a good way to put it, but you can almost drown yourself in the process and just use it as a way to live like almost like a monk lifestyle, right? As like what Dorian Yates called it. And like not everybody does that. And like there's different varying degrees and it's not that serious, but like, yeah, like you sacrifice a lot of social scenarios. You sacrifice, whatever food or temptation, and you sacrifice free time. And all these different things, like just to get towards this goal, this thing that's going to take so much more focus. And the thing that I found to be really cool is it seems to be like the more dedicated effort more so meaning attention and focus, not necessarily just like banging your head against the wall in the gym, but like the more you can dedicate to it, the more you will see from it. And to me, that's just it's so incredible that you see that as a physical manifestation of like, hey, this is a result of like the studying, the work, the meditation, the reading, the, whatever you want to call it. It's like, this is the process. And this was like the physical outcome, but no, it's about the journey to get there and the traits you have to develop to get there, the habits you have to build to do that.
Wow. That was,
so it's always a big deal to me, which might seem silly to some people because it's not like I'm out here doing a pro show or anything like that, but it definitely is a way to, I don't know. I don't even know if check yourself is the right word, but just kind of ground, center, figure out the traits it takes to be who you want to be, Yeah.
It's almost like putting yourself out there to see if you have what it takes, and maybe not even see what you have, if you have what it takes, but to see if you have the ability to, I guess, achieve that end goal that you want to achieve, and to figure out that process along the way. And it's almost like you're putting just a massive puzzle together, as you go, and you're figuring out things that you didn't know, maybe your last 2 cycles.
Right.
And, you're implementing them in this cycle, and just figuring out your life.
It's just this ever-growing thing that's so personalized and individualized to each person that it's inherently a spiritual journey for sure.
Yeah, man. So. I feel that a lot with my like powerlifting cycles too. Like, it's definitely more than just being inside the gym. But so for your 13 week cycle, you told me that you had some specific goals. So what were they again?
So on stage, one of my goals was to be the leanest in my class, and the other was to have the best arms in my class.
Yes.
And those are like totally subjective. They were just things that I thought like, okay, this will be fun and an extra way to, drive myself a little bit harder. Like this whole prep, I had a dedicated arm day. Like I've been doing more cardio than ever and just trying to get my body fat as low as I can. Mm-hmm. So, it's just like an external challenge within to be maybe a little bit more specific. So rather than like just aiming for, I'm trying to be the best bodybuilder in my class or the best classic physique guy in my class that day, I'm just like, okay, here's 2 like a little bit more tangible things that maybe like I could grab and reach for and just make a personal thing, So
the end goal was, or I guess the like overarching goal is, because you need this in your life. And then in order to ground those, you're saying that you chose goals that you desired.
Yeah, exactly. And that's goals that were almost fun.
And that's going to be different from like each person.
Yeah. And that's just a little bit more like self buy-in, like I get excited for arm day because it's not something I would usually do. And like, it's not something that's been, I haven't dedicated time to in the past, but now I'm actively doing. So again, it's just an extra thing to pull on for me.
Nice, man. That was badass.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, I don't know if you ever had anything similar with your thing in powerlifting where it's just squat, bench, and deadlift, but I'm sure you have different meets where like you're expecting one lift to carry you a little bit farther than the others. Yeah,
and it's usually like you're saying, just something or whatever I choose is because I personally want that.
Like what you're feeling good about the time, what you're excited about.
It's cool to focus on those things that one, you're knowledgeable about. Like in my case, maybe that would be the squat,
Sure.
And not only that, you enjoy doing whatever that is. And for me, that's the squat. So I guess it's like aligning a bunch of things to one goal that you can be like most efficient at.
Yeah.
And it's fulfilling, like at the end of the day. So you're going to try your hardest because it is fulfilling. So I don't know.
Right. It's just a little extra buy-in, So it's a fun part of the process, Especially like leanness has never been a strong suit for me. Like at my last 2 shows, I definitely could have standed to be leaner, and like arms proportionally were fine at the last one, but like the arms was the fun one, and the lean one was like okay, this is like
Yeah, you're showing me that
This is
side
like
to
not-
side, and you're having veins in your back, and
Yeah.
you're still a week out. So, what happens in this last like week, like from the change or from how you look today? How will you be looking on stage?
So through the rest of the week, today's Saturday right now, so it's 7 days out, and
Yeah.
then Saturday is the next show day. So the way I plan on spending the next 7 days is through today and tomorrow. I've just recently brought my calories up a little bit from a harder depletion, and I'm still in a bit of a deficit right now. And then starting Monday, I'm going to do a bit of a refeed. I'm going to train legs really hard one last time and just kind of try to push myself hard 5 days out.
Mm-hmm.
And that day I'll probably have like 300 grams of carbs. So I'll really kind of crank it up and try to, just take it easy from that point on. And then I'll gradually work myself down. So I kind of try to front load the carbs.
Yeah.
And so this is not like my area of expertise at all. I'm actually using a formula out of an ebook that I've been kind of following and just tweaking as I go, like based off what I see.
Mm-hmm.
But so I kind of do that because it's just a little bit easier for me to have more of a structure and a plan to follow.
Got you.
Through the end of the week, I'm essentially just kind of recovering, getting ready, trying to get rid of any extra inflammation, trying to get rid of any extra water weight or puffiness, and just trying to show up and look full and lean all in one on the final day.
Got you. So you already have a strategy for the next 7 days.
Yeah, like I have, you can see it posted up right there. I have all my numbers written down on like a grid. And it's like this day out, this many grams of carbs, this day out, this many grams of protein, this much sodium, this much water. Well, I'm keeping water pretty strict across the board just because it kind of freaks me out to play with water.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that it could go
I feel
either
like
way
that's
when it
just a
comes to
dangerous
water.
game to play. Yeah, I don't like that. But I'm not at a point right now where I really mess with that. But and then once I'm just a couple days out, I'll just do like light circuit training. I won't lift the day before, and I won't lift anything heavy probably 2 or 3 days prior.
Got you.
So yeah, but that's kind of like the week building up, and then essentially day of, the goal is to look as big and as lean and as vascular and just like the best physique I can bring that day.
Mm-hmm. So first of all, that's freaking awesome. Second of all, I remember you telling me that there's 2 shows. There's a pre-show, and then you come back for the afternoon
the morning show, and then there's the finals, which is the night show.
Morning and finals. Okay, and you're saying that you want to be the leanest that you can be, obviously, at that show.
Right.
So you were also saying that after the morning show, you'll eat a burger or a burrito. So how does that work?
It's pretty standard to go out and eat something like a burger, or burrito, or something something that's kind of fattier, carbier, a lot of sodium to help kind of suck some fluids up and make you look a little bit more.
And when you say suck those fluids up, are you saying like fill the muscles up, or does it fill up?
Your goal is not to like spill over. So like you're not trying to go to a buffet or do anything crazy, but like
Kung Fu buffet.
Yeah, exactly. But like no, it's pretty standard to go out and have like a pretty hearty meal post pre-show. And then, I would probably just eat something small or like a usual meal prep, maybe an hour or 2 before getting on stage. With, same thing with probably a lot of salt in it too.
Got you.
And then as far as water goes, like, again, I don't really cut it. I'll just start sipping once I'm like a few hours off of stage, or before going on stage, just to like be sure I'm not watery or spilt over or puffy or
stay dry,
or anything like that. Yeah, exactly. So I try not to overcomplicate it, but there are some things that like, I feel like the things that are easy to control, like the macronutrients, meal timing, stuff like that I do. But like when we're talking about like, timing sodium and like, maybe not timing sodium, maybe that's a silly way to put it, but just like, there's some very like little things that I really don't sweat too much. Yeah. Like water or like levels of sodium. And I'm just not at a point right now where I mess with that much.
Got you.
So I try to control the things that I'm used to controlling.
Okay.
So
do you have so after you're done winning this competition, do you have like some kind of splurge that you're going to go do?
What's funny is, I have like a pretty like long list of like things I'm excited to eat.
Oh yeah.
But I'm truthfully not like dying or craving or planning on like stuffing my face to no end,
Yeah, maybe not like stuffing it to, an uncomfortable point.
Yeah.
But is there something that like you're going to be excited about that you already have planned for after the show?
The one specific things I asked Brianna to make me blueberry muffins the day after the show.
Kodiak?
Yeah. No, just however she wants to make them.
Mm-hmm.
There's something about blueberry muffins, man. I don't know. They're warm, they're sweet, they're fluffy, like they're blueberry, which is like one of the best flavors. but that's kind of one of like, that was one thing. There's a couple different like restaurants I want to go to, but like, yeah, I don't know. Like at the last show, I didn't even finish the dinner that night. I remember I went to Blue Goose and I got like 3 tacos and I ate like half the beans and rice and like a taco and a half. Like, so I don't know. It's definitely like kind of cultural, I guess, to like go and eat something crazy afterwards. But there's really nothing that comes to mind. Like I'll probably think of the most convenient restaurant for, you know, you, my family, Brianna, and my buddy Landry, and whoever else happens to be there to all go to and, you know, sit down and eat. So
what about outside of food? So like it doesn't have to be food, but
like something like, I'm looking forward to doing.
Yeah, man. Like some kind of, I don't know if it's a reward, but something to like give yourself after, you know, putting yourself.
No, I haven't thought about that at all.
No? Is that something that's even going to happen?
I mean, I've thought of like what my training is going to look like after, if that's what you mean. Like, but no, I didn't plan on like rewarding myself or doing anything like that. No, that's not, okay. You know, I think that's probably what the food is, I guess. Like if I were to go out and have something, but no, I didn't plan on like rewarding myself or anything like that, you know, because at the end of the day, like, yeah, it's a challenge and it's a, maybe not the easiest thing to do for some people, but like, it's all a self-inflicted challenge, you know, that I bring onto myself. And that's why I really try not to complain about the diet too much or anything like that. And people are like, yeah, you can complain though, but
there's nothing to complain about.
It's like, yeah, I'm choosing to do it. And if I wanted to, I could go have whatever I want to eat. It's just going to affect the way I end up on stage that day. And I don't want to make that sacrifice at that time.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do want to make that sacrifice, but I'm not usually in a place where like, I want to veer off from that. I want to stay on track. I want to do what the thing is because I'm choosing to do it. Nobody's making me be here.
Might as well be good at, you know, what you're trying to do.
Well, it's like do the job right or don't do it at all, right? Mm-hmm. So why would you, you know, why would you?
Yeah. So from your last 2 preps, what did you learn that, you know, what did you learn from your last 2 preps that maybe you were a little bit short on that you're including in this prep? Your shortcomings from your last prep.
One thing, my shortcomings from my last prep. Okay. My shortcomings from my last prep. I would say in my last prep, I wasn't prioritizing sleep enough. I wasn't paying attention to stress enough. I think those are definitely 2 places I've really improved because even though I, you know, still have my fair share of stress, I'm much more conscious of it and I pretty much consistently get my sleep when I need to. But I would say those are probably the 2 biggest things that I've pulled from those other 2 shows. The first show, like I wasn't sleeping at all. Like I was just living like a normal teenager, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Because you were.
Yeah, exactly. Because I was just, you know. It wasn't something that I was training hard, but maybe I wasn't living it or, you know, whatever the phrase is.
Yeah, it's not just about in the gym.
Mm-hmm, exactly. I wasn't mature enough to take it seriously enough at that point. But, yeah. Does that kind of answer that?
Yeah, man. I think it does.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. It's something that's like, it's just, the thing that I found the most with bodybuilding preps is like I am what I consider to be the best me during them because I have to be. Yeah. Because if I don't get up on time, if I don't meal prep, if I don't do my workouts, if I don't, you know, do the daily things I need to do, you know, in my normal life to keep things like running, like it's that routine that like I feel unstoppable during. So like even in the midst of like the last parts of the diet where, you know, maybe you're tired and brain fog and, you know, just drowsy or whatever it may be, like I still feel like I'm moving in the right direction, you know, like I still feel together, if that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Like it just makes me feel like I'm actually on a course going somewhere.
And I think that that's what a lot of people get or they misunderstand. They think that it's extreme discipline and, you know, maybe extreme motivation that carries us through, you know, these things that we're doing, whether it be a powerlifting meet, a bodybuilding show, or just losing a bunch of weight. They think that it's extreme, you know, discipline or motivation, when in reality, it's the fact that we're moving forward every single day and that momentum just carries our decisions as we go. So whenever, we get to the point where there is, some temptations, right in front of us, we know, or it's not even a decision that we have to make, whether it's a yes or a no, to take that temptation, because it's already instilled in us through our daily actions to not even consider that temptation.
Well, and it's because you've become so engulfed in the process of whatever it is that you're doing or striving towards, or the goal that's in mind, that you don't look at things like you normally would. You look at them as that's helping me or that's hurting me.
Yeah.
That's aiding me or that's harming me. So, if you're trying to lose 25 pounds and you're driving by the donut store, you're either looking at it like that's aiding me or that's harming me. Not, do I want a donut or do I not want a donut? It doesn't matter if you want a donut. It matters that you don't eat the donut right now. Yeah,
and it's if you're able to think about it logically and, keep your emotions away, it's very, very easy to make the right choice. But a lot of times when we see things that, we know that aren't good for us, and we're not, and we don't have the habits that, we already have right now instilled in us, then what happens is, again, like you just said, instead of asking, is this going to help or hurt us? We go into, ooh, that sounds good right now. How can I just go get that?
Right.
Instead of thinking, again, the help or hurt. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. Something that I've found to help me too, like when I'm maybe not in a place where I can do the help or hurt thing, because I don't think that's as easy as portrayed. Like you have to very much be invested in it and dedicated to it. But if you're in a place where you're struggling, like I've also found that the time frame really helps too. So like the time frame kind of can help you realize that like this is a choice that you're making. Like you get to say no to that because of what you want to do. And so you can just kind of think in your brain like, okay, I don't want that donut right now because today I'm trying to lose fat. And maybe tomorrow rolls around and you're trying to lose fat. The next day rolls around and you're trying to lose fat. But maybe next year you're in a place where you're pretty lean, and at that certain time, like that donut, maybe you can have that. Like there's really not, it's not a big deal. So it's like when you kind of create a time frame around it, like it's not like you're saying no forever. You're saying no right now in this moment, and that can kind of help just maybe put it a little bit more in a box rather than feel like you have to become this person that says no to donuts because you're hardcore disciplined and driven. And, it's one of those things where it gives you that ability to like say, no, I'm good right now, but maybe in a year or maybe in a week or maybe next time, Yeah,
it's almost like you're tricking yourself.
Yeah,
exactly. Or that's exactly what you're doing.
I think you're aiding yourself. I think you're reminding yourself that the task is not as large as it seems, because it's really not a big deal to pass on a donut one time. But if you're somebody who really likes donuts and then you have to think, I'm never going to eat a donut again, that's a big challenge. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's contextual. It boxes it a little bit. It puts it into perspective.
See, now we're kind of talking about like managing our habits, but I know one thing that, if you are struggling with, let's just say diet habits.
Sure.
If you are struggling with diet habits.
Adherence to a diet.
Yeah, just stay away from the shit you're not supposed to eat. It's as simple as that. Right. If you're going in the grocery store, already have a grocery list before you walk in there. Go in there, get the shit you need to get, walk out. If you're hungry, you should already have not pre-made meals, but like a plan of what you're eating, an idea of what you're eating. Because what happens if you don't is you're going to be thinking of, all right, well, I don't have anything to cook. Don't really know what to eat. Let me just go get something from Grubhub.
Oh, yeah.
Or I'm driving down the road, don't really have anything at home. Let me just go to Chipotle.
Dude, that DoorDash game becomes dangerous because suddenly you have every restaurant and in a 5-mile radius at your fingertips, but like you don't realize how much money you're blowing, what a bad habit you're creating. You're eating out so much. You know what I mean? So you're exactly right. Like it's so easy to like fall into these habits, and we're all guilty of it. Mm-hmm. But I agree. Like if you can just physically stay in a place where you don't need those, like for me, a big thing is not buying snacks. Yeah. And like I'd be lying if I said we didn't have snacks, because we do buy snacks, but I know every time that like, hey, if I'm trying to dial it in again this week, I'm not getting any snacks. Like any snack in there is like something for Brianna. It's not for me right now. Because if there's a snack, like I'm at the very minimum thinking about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I at very least know it's there. So why even let it be there?
Mm-hmm.
Why have to deal with it?
Another thing is, let's say, so for my mom and my dad, for example, they have kids in the house. So obviously they're going to have, well, I say obviously, but a lot of the times, they have cookies, crackers, they buy donuts for them, things like that. So let's say you're in a place where it's inevitable for you to have, delicious things in your vicinity. Well, one thing that helped me when I was losing a bunch of weight, and I think could help a lot of people, is get those, delicious things out of your sight. Like it's as simple as that. Like if you have a microwave, put the stuff inside the microwave. If you have a pantry, put the good stuff, behind some stuff in the pantry. Just make it so that you don't see it, because
making it easier for yourself.
Yeah. What I started noticing is, as long as I don't see whatever I want, then I'm literally not even going to think about it. And it got to the point where even if there was, cookies and donuts and cake on the pantry or in the fridge, I already knew what I was going to eat. So I wouldn't even look at those things. I would just go straight to what I needed. Yeah. And that no longer became an issue. So I no longer even had to be disciplined or, any of that stuff. So it just makes it a lot easier.
Right. So when I do things like that, and then I also meal prep and essentially just get ahead of the game on the diet, then it just becomes following the process. But when you're trying to figure it out on the fly, or when you have, these other temptations around in your immediate area or vicinity,
it's so hard.
Yeah. So it's like you simplify it for yourself and you make it like a dedicated process, So that's what I've done. And I'd be lying if I said my adherence was 100% this whole prep, because it definitely wasn't. Yeah. But, in places and times when it needed to be, being the majority, it was. And my general body fat went down, and I'm happy with how lean I am. Mm-hmm. So, we ended up getting to that point, but it's just one of those things where it's like, man, there's a lot of challenges you can get away from just by being ahead of the ball.
Yeah. So it's like you're beating yourself at the game.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
You're beating yourself around the corner.
Yeah.
Another thing that I think would help a lot of people is just being, I know we steered away from your bodybuilding to this, but
we circle back.
Being educated on, whatever your goals are. So just because we've been talking about diet, let's talk more about diet. If you're educated on macros and calories and how much you need to be consuming a day, then you're going to think twice about, grabbing that donut or getting a bowl of cereal.
Okay. I'm really glad you said that too, because what's super funny to me is every single person that I have the conversation with they're trying to lose body fat. What do you eat? Well, I eat healthy.
What does that mean to you?
Exactly. What does that mean? What does that mean to you? Do you know what that means? Mm-hmm. Does that account for energy balance? Does it have to account for energy balance? I don't know, but we need to talk about energy balance. But so point being, people in their brain, people are eating healthy,
Mm-hmm.
And to your point, you don't know what you don't know, but you got to know.
Yeah. And it's not your fault. For example, I know my mom and my dad, they love oatmeal. And so what do I catch them doing? I catch them eating 2 big ass or a big ass bowl of oatmeal filled with creamer and milk, and then a slice of bread with butter on it. And they're like, well, this is healthy, right? Because it's oats and it's one slice of bread. It's like, well, that, I totally understand why you think that, because oats is, a good thing. But when you're eating a huge bowl of grits or oatmeal, you do not need that many carbs.
Right. It's quantity
first thing in the morning.
It's quantity and combination, what's going with it, So,
yeah, man.
Yeah, you make a good point, man. A lot of it is, you're right, a lack of knowledge on what the goal might be. So if it's really a serious goal, it has to be something that you're researching, you're studying, you're paying attention to, you're not leaving in the fog.
And the cool thing one thing that I started noticing when it comes to just improving whatever you want to improve, it doesn't take much education for you to be aware of where you need to be improving. Yeah. So when it comes to dieting, it's not a lot of information to learn what protein is, what carbohydrates is, what fats are, and what calories are. And then for you to pull together a mix of like how many calories you should be consuming a day,
right?
And then start breaking down your protein, carb, and fat ratio.
Yeah, right. And now, like, and I would agree with you that the knowledge part isn't hard, but it's the application part that's hard. But yes,
it can be hard.
The knowledge is not far out of reach. It's not far there. But the problem is figuring out how you go from standard American diet to 2,000 calories a day with 120 grams of protein or something like that. You know what I mean? The problem is figuring out how to apply it and get to that step. But no, I agree with you. Like, you have the knowledge available to you. You just have to go out and get it.
Go out and get it.
Exactly. So, I don't know how we got off the show. Do you want to get back off or back on talking about the show?
Yeah. Do you have anything else to talk about the show?
Not in specific. What I will say is I really think that sleep has been a huge game changer for me through this whole process. That in maintaining tissue, losing fat, keeping stress low, like it continues to boggle my mind, like how important sleep is and how important stress is. It never ceases to amaze me. And it's like every time I find myself more and more recently with clients, like first change looking for being sleep or stress, not even calorie adherence or diet adherence or, how many calories you're eating or their training. Like I go to sleep and stress first every time.
And that's big for you because you're a personal trainer trying to make them achieve their fitness goals. So the fact that you're first looking at their sleep, that tells you how important it's
lifestyle, man. Yeah. Like if you're not sleeping right, you're not doing anything right. So, and that's unfortunate because there's some people who, no sleep is a badge of honor. And I was one of those people before. And some people learn how to, function without it. But as far as like getting the most out of your body and your physical capacity, like you get your 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night, man.
Yeah. I remember a little bit over a month ago, I was telling you like how bad my sleep was. And you're like, Chris, listen to this podcast. And I listened to that podcast with Matt Walker and Andrew Huberman, correct?
Yep.
It was both of them.
Yep.
So I listened to that podcast, I think like 4 times. And ever since I listened to that podcast, I'm serious when I say I haven't gotten under 8 hours of sleep. Yep. I've been prioritizing sleep ever since then. And my training has gotten better. My recovery has gotten better. No longer feeling tired throughout the day. Although I did start taking naps throughout the day purposely, not because of lack of energy.
Yeah.
And he goes over why to do that in the podcast. But sleep, I can definitely say or agree with you or I guess sleep and stress management, they both go hand in hand. Are so important, and it's so much more than just like fitness and health. It's like your life.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. There are things that like you find that this works out a lot better if you just decide to live it. If you decide to go to bed on time, if you decide to take care of yourself rather than just trying to build the muscle. Like try to build the muscle and be healthy. Try to lose the fat and be healthy. Like do the things you need to do to take care of yourself, and it pays tenfold, man. It's crazy. I want to switch gears a little bit. I know we've touched, and honestly, just because we've already touched a lot of subjects today, so I'm going to throw you a curveball.
Okay.
I want to talk about your squats right now.
Okay.
Because you were going pretty nutty with that Mars bar for a minute.
Yes.
And I saw a video of you squatting with a straight bar the other day. For the first time in how long?
Almost a year.
First time squatting on a straight bar in almost a year. And how heavy did you go?
Only 735 or 745.
Okay, so like you literally you have not practiced the skill of back squatting with a straight bar in over a year, and you went and squatted 735.
Yeah, and that was after losing like 100.
That's pretty crazy.
120 pounds.
So you have a meet coming up.
Yes, I have a meet December 11th, man.
Okay, so December 11th, and what kind of numbers are you going for? Considering you're squatting 735 your first time in over a year, I assume you're going for some big numbers.
Yeah, so at first my goal was to total over 2215 because that is Dan Green's, or that's the world record at the 242 pound weight class in powerlifting.
Okay.
And I wanted to crush that world record by December, but I'm actually going to push that goal to April.
Okay.
Because I figured, you know what? What's the point of trying to make, this big of a turnaround in, only 4 months? All I'm going to do is just risk my happiness and well-being
Sure.
on this, when in reality, I still won't be able to reach those numbers.
Sure.
So for this goal, or for this December 11th meet, I don't have exact numbers. Right now, my bench is at a very nice 445. My deadlift is around 785. And I say that because I got 745 very easy, and I stalled out on 800 3 times above my knee. So I'm assuming I'm around 785. And then my squat right now, first time squatting, is at let's just say 735. I don't know if it's 745, but 735.
Okay.
Although when it comes to my squat, that still has a lot of potential, because I need to refigure out my form, and that form felt really wonky. So I think I have a lot more power in squat. So when it comes to the meet in December, I think that I'm going to be, first of all, I'm going to be a little bit more conservative on my numbers, just
Sure.
to build my confidence. So for bench, I'm thinking about a 485 bench, and then a 815 deadlift. And then honestly, for squat, I don't have a number yet.
Okay.
I think I'll have to wait a couple more weeks to see where my squat is. And I say a couple more weeks, but it may honestly be, the rest of the 13 weeks.
Okay. So it sounds like you're not super far off the mark, but where exactly did you pull this this refound need to compete in powerlifting? Because that was gone for a while.
Yeah, so I was powerlifting, COVID happened, lost a ton of weight, and I was feeling really good at like 220 pounds.
Sure.
And what I started noticing is, obviously, after losing 120, or at that time it was 140 pounds, you're gonna have loose skin.
Yeah.
So I started thinking, okay, how can I fix this without, having surgery? Because surgery is like $18,000. And not only that, what's the point of doing that when I may be able to fix it myself?
Yeah.
So my game plan was to regain some mass and focus on tightening my skin. So after about, I'd say like 4 months of slowly gaining weight and just trying to focus on building mass, I got up to about 245 pounds, and I started noticing like, whoa, I'm actually pretty strong. And then I decided to just peak, just do a 12-week peak out of nowhere, no program. So I was taking it week by week, day by day, honestly. And I wanted to see how strong that I could get.
Sure.
And I ended up almost deadlifting 800, benching 445, and deadlift or squatting the 735.
Yeah.
So those numbers were just out of the whim, out of nowhere. And that's when I was like, you know what? This was fun. I can build more mass and tighten my skin.
Yeah.
And not only that, a friend named Skylar Brandt reached out to me and was like, hey, you down to do a powerlifting meet in December? And
Just kind of stars aligned. You're like, yeah, absolutely.
yeah, I was like, you know what? Let me try it. I feel like it aligns with all the goals that I'm looking at right now. Yeah, it's a challenge. Again, like with this 13-week bodybuilding show for you, how it's like a journey, a spiritual journey. That's how I'm looking at this, like a spiritual journey, something that I really want to try at and like kind of push myself.
Right.
So yeah, that's how I decided to go for this meet. Kind of a long story, but yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That's pretty cool. It's been interesting to see, and I was pretty impressed to see you just come out of the gate with a 735 squat like that.
Yeah, and I think the really cool thing is when it comes to me being strong, I've never really broken things down when it came to like my program, when it came to dieting, sleeping. Yeah. I've never really broken things down. I've always just gotten stronger and stronger and stronger. So right now, what I did, I actually took a whole day to break down where I am now, some places where I can improve, I looked at my 3 lifts. I broke down my weaknesses. Yeah. And, I marked those, put them to the side. And then I looked at the powerlifting meet. I looked at, exactly like the equipment that's going to be at the powerlifting meet, what I'm going to be doing, how I need to be preparing. And then how can I optimize the equipment that I have right now in order to be prepared for that? Right. So, and then I started looking at my diet. So I started breaking down like all these components of the show. Yeah. Yep. Which I've never done before. And it was cool because after doing that, I saw so many things that I have the potential to improve on. Right. And so what I did was I actually went out and I bought, some new gear. And because the gear that I have right now is like 5 years old. Yeah. So I was like, you know what, let me buy some new gear. And I broke down my lifts, like I was saying, my weaknesses. So I created a program to buff up those weaknesses. And I was looking at my training and the way that I train. And so I broke down like how I need to be training in the future, which is really just training with intention instead of just training to lift heavy shit. Right. And I guess I just did like a whole revamp for this powerlifting meet because I actually want to try, and I actually want to say that I guess I tried my hardest and I put like a lot into it.
You want to say you left it all on the table.
Yeah, I want to be proud of what I put on that platform, the numbers that I put on that platform.
Yeah, 100%. You want to be sure that that's all of you that's left out there.
Yeah, exactly. So, and not only that, that's going to prep me for that meet in April. Yeah. Which that's the meet where I've actually decided that I want to like put up some big numbers at the 242 pound range. So just another challenge for me, but.
You want to call it right now? What are your numbers going to be in April?
I'd say around a 900 pound squat, an 850 pound deadlift, and 535 bench.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm confident about those numbers.
That's awesome.
And that's at 242 pounds. So I'm not going to be going up in a weight class.
And today is September 11th. 2021, and this meet is going to be in April of 2022.
Yes, not an exact date in April I have yet, but my birthday is April 30th. So I want to do it before my birthday, just to say that I was a sub junior, or I guess it would be a junior, that I was a junior while I broke that record.
I love that, like, my birthday thing was like, yeah, so I can eat like an asshole on my birthday. And your birthday thing was like, yeah, so I can just be the best powerlifter in the world before I'm a serious adult.
Yeah, true, man. I'm really excited.
That's awesome, man. That's super cool. Yeah. It's super cool. And it's obviously something that you have a gift for and are made to do. So it's awesome to see you excited about it again,
Yeah, and it's so weird people telling me that I have a gift for it and stuff, because I guess, first of all, everybody tells me that. And second of all, I think it's not really a gift.
Well, hang on. That's not for a second to discount your work or anything like
that.
Yeah,
no. I know it's not.
Yeah.
But
I'm just saying you're a talented athlete.
That's what I'm saying. So I guess, like, looking from here on the outside, I just want everybody to know, like, they can do, I know this may sound corny as hell, but they can do like whatever they set their mind to. Well,
and here's the thing too. It's like, maybe you were maybe you were dealt a certain hand of cards that maybe enabled you to do what you've done and what you plan to do and continue to do. But you have sacrificed more than most would. A lot more than most would. And you've put forth a lot more effort than most would. So gift, no gift. I mean, at the end of the day, like, you have to be the one to go take it, you know?
Yeah, man. And I think there's certain, how can I say it? My environment at the time, like, enabled me to, you know, do the sacrifices.
I watched you dedicate everything, man. Like,
yeah, so I was
100 pounds, like that was everything.
Yeah, so my mom I was talking about this a little bit with my mom this morning, and what she said was, because I was showing her this morning, like, hey, my teeth are white now, because like a couple weeks ago they were starting to get, you know, yellow and brown, and I didn't like it, and she pointed it out. So I was like, okay, let me fix this. So I've been doing everything we were talking about earlier, like just educating myself and, you know, building habits and learning exactly how I need to be brushing my teeth, and a lot of stuff that I learned about whitening your teeth.
Just trying to take care of yourself a little bit.
Yeah, take care of myself. And so when she told me, or this morning, when I showed her my teeth and I was all happy, she like smiled at me, and she told me that, you know, it's really good to see, or it's really cool for her to see that I'm actually caring about, my appearances, my right now. I'm caring about life right now, and I'm caring about like a lot of things right now. Right. Back then, I only cared about powerlifting, and I did not care about anything else. Right. So that's why I was able to, I mean, obviously I cared about like my family, but I guess if you think about it, did I really? Because I put myself in a situation where I could have easily had a heart attack, and just died. Right. So did I really care about my family more than I did about powerlifting? Yeah. I don't know. But I was able to make those sacrifices because I put myself in a position where I wasn't even really making any sacrifices. Yeah. So I'm not trying to, I guess, say that what I did was easy, but I think it was. I think I did the easy route. You know, I took the easy route, and
you put yourself in a scenario where there was only one option.
Yeah, and a lot of people from the outside, you know, they look at it as like very impressive and all of this, but from the inside, I know in my heart, like deep down, it's not impressive. Yeah. It's really not. I was a nihilistic,
you probably just constantly think you're capable of more, and that's kind of the hard thing with something that's so objective like powerlifting. It's like, you squatted 900, sweet. When are you going to squat 905?
Numbers really mean nothing.
Sweet. When are you going to squat 910? You know, like. And so that's like the thing, like, you know, what was it? Thor deadlifted like 1,000 pounds, and then somebody deadlifted 1,001, and it was right. Like,
and then Eddie Hall. No. Yeah. Okay. And then Eddie Hall went and deadlifted like 1,100.
Yeah, he did exactly. So it's just like at the end of the day, like there's never going to be an end point, and it's the same thing with bodybuilding too. Like, as soon as you have one thing strong, you want another thing strong. As soon as you're known for one thing, you want to be known for another. You know what I mean? So we can always play this game with ourselves of like,
we're power hungry.
It's never enough, you know. So you have to decide, like, are you in it to find enough? Because if you are, you never will. But are you in it to, you know, continuously be better and to dedicate yourself to something that you enjoy and that you feel makes you better? You know?
And I think when you try to find the enough, that's when you start tying your happiness and your well-being to those end goals.
You're right. You know what's funny is the only time, and I cringe when I say this, but the only time I ever called myself a bodybuilder was when I prepped for my first show in high school, which like was the show I by far looked the worst, but like I had tied my identity to it. And when I got last of last, like it crushed me, man, because like I was a bodybuilder. Like that's what I did. I am Alex the bodybuilder. I'm not Alex the human being.
So it's like, what now?
Exactly. So you can't tie your worth to those things. So you have to figure out like, okay, this thing I love and I enjoy and I pursue because it's an opportunity for me to become better and do something I enjoy and challenge myself and try to be more. but you can't look for your validation or your confidence, or maybe you can find some confidence, but you can't find your identity within it.
Yeah, because what happens if it leaves? You know, like for me as a powerlifter, what happens if, you know, I did tie my happiness to powerlifting and, you know, the weights that I lifted, and I got in a car wreck the next day and I broke my leg, or I'm paralyzed from the waist down. Like there goes literally who I am as a person. And if you're not, you know, in my case, Chris Saldana, if you're Toro strong, then what happens when powerlifting is gone? You know, you're gonna go through some kind of existential crisis, and that's not fun. So
I think I want to end on that.
Yeah, that was a powerful.
I think that's an important point. But
don't tie your happiness to your end goals.
100%. You have to fall in love with the process. It's the journey. You know, I heard a really good analogy the other day, and it's like you could either climb Everest or have someone take you on a helicopter to the top, and you know, of those two people, who's going to be more fulfilled by the process or by the view, or you know what I mean? So anyways, this has been PTC Cast. I really don't know what.
Episode 7.
Is it 7?
Yep.
Look at that. It's my lucky number.
Yeah.
So episode 7. Thank you all for listening. Appreciate you. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast. I'm Alex Martin at Progress Through Change. This is Chris Saldana. What's your Instagram?
At Cholito Saldana.
Cholito Saldana.
Yeah.
But thank you all for listening. We'll catch you in the next one.
Peace. Peace to the world.
Peace to the world. Oui.